क्यों आसमान में जगमग करते तारे, क्यों इंद्रधनुष में रंग बिरंगे प्यारे।
Our universe began with an explosion of space itself, the Big Bang. Starting from extremely high density and temperature, the space expanded, the universe cooled, and the simplest elements formed. Gravity gradually drew matter together to form the first stars and first galaxies. When the solar system settled into its current layout, about 4.5 billion years ago, Earth was formed. Gravity pulled swirling gas and dust in to become the third planet from the Sun. Like its fellow terrestrial planets, Earth has a central core, a rocky mantle, and a solid crust.
With the formation of Earth came the existence of mankind. Human beings slowly started living together and established a mutual relationship amongst themselves. Human evolution, the process by which human beings developed on Earth from now extinct primates, viewed zoologically, we humans are Homo sapiens, a cultural bearing upright walking species that lives on the ground. We are now the only members of what many zoologists refer to as the human tribe. With the evolution of mankind came the existence and the development of science. The 3-age system is the periodization of human prehistory into 3 time periods: the Stone Age, the Bronze Age, and the Iron Age. To the relative chronology of the Stone Age, the Bronze Age, and the Iron Age remain in use in a general public context. And the 3 ages concept underpins prehistoric chronology for Europe, the Mediterranean, and the Near East. The most significant changes seen in mankind was with the arrival of the Bronze Age and the Iron Age. The Copper Age and the Bronze Age, along with the Iron Age and also with the discovery of steel, is collectively known as
the Metal Age started about 6,000 years ago. During the Metal Age, a significant advancement in metallurgy was seen. Weapons and tools of people transitioned from wood and stone to solid metal objects. The people slowly knew how to use fire to mend and bend metals. During this age, also the usage of alloys became prominent. The most noticeable alloy became the bronze. Many villages increased during this age as people started building the cities during this period. Different sub-ages in the Metal Age brought a number of changes that helped mankind flourish more. They are: in Copper Age, civilization saw an enhancement including craft, trade, urban centers surrounded by politically attached communities. Also, many cities were built. At the end of Copper Age came the existence of alloys, and copper was made into an alloy with tin to produce bronze. And thereafter, the significant usage of bronze resulted into Bronze Age, where the enhancement was seen basically in making of tools and weapons. Finally, the mankind evolved more and transitioned into the Iron Age, where steel was also discovered. The Iron Age can be said as the most prominent of all because science saw most of its development during this age. This is the age from where mankind actually knew to find solutions to every question with the help of science. During this time, the national economy presided over by the government was seen. New rules were made and the cities were connected by roads, rather metal roads. Empires were built and thereafter the development continued its journey of making history. This is how we know the existence of chemistry and its importance as we read through history. We itself find out that every day of our life is surrounded by chemistry and its applications.
Polymers. Polymers are substances composed of macromolecules. A macromolecule is a molecule with high relative molecular mass. The structure of which essentially comprises the multiple repetitions of units derived actually or conceptually from molecules of low relative molecular mass. A lot of things that we use in our day-to-day lives are composed of a polymer. For example, the water bottles that we use is composed of a polymer polyethylene terephthalate or PET. Also, the erasers that we use is composed of a polymer isoprene which is mixed with rubber. Polymers are of two categories. Number 1, natural polymers like silk, wool, proteins, etc. And number 2, synthetic polymers like nylon, polyethylene, epoxy, etc. In natural polymers, the most fundamental of them that our human body need and contains is proteins. Proteins are large macromolecules that are composed of one or more long chains of amino acid residues. These chains of amino acid residues are called polypeptides. Each protein molecule contains at least one long polypeptide. Proteins provide structure and support to cells and also provides energy to them for their proper functioning. So, where do we get proteins from? It's simple. We get proteins from foods like fish, meat, eggs, and dairy products.
Two types of natural polymers are silk and rubber. Silk is a natural protein fiber. Some forms of it can be woven into textiles. The protein fiber of silk is mainly composed of peptoin and is obtained from the larvae of certain insects undergoing complete metamorphosis. The best known silk is obtained from the larva of the mulberry silkworm called Bombyx mori, reared in captivity. The shimmering appearance of the silk is due to the triangular prism-like structure of the silk fiber, which acts the silk cloth to refract the incoming light, thus producing different colors. The properties of silk are: it has a natural shine, it has a smooth and shine texture, it is resistant to mineral acids, it has a good moisture regain, and it also has a moderate elasticity. The second is rubber. Rubber is an example of elastomer polymer where the polymer has the ability to return to its original position after being deformed or stretched. It is made of long isoprene polymer chain. The rubber polymer in its resting stage is coiled. The elastic properties arises from the ability of the polymer to stretch the chains apart, but when the tension is released, the chains return back to its original position. The rubber is obtained as a milky fluid-like substance called latex from the tropical rubber tree. Due to the presence of the weakened allylic CH bonds, natural rubber is susceptible to vulcanization as well as sensitive to ozone cracking. The two main solvents of rubber are turpentine and petroleum. In mechanical engineering, it is used in anti-vibration mounts, drive couplings, rubber bands, springs, bearings, and also in adhesives. It is used as high-performance wires in race cars, buses, and aircraft. It is used in automotive parts, houses, foam batteries, battery boxes, and also paints.
Hi, I'm Shrestha Bhattakur from 12th and I'm speaking about polymers in commercial application. Polymers, synthetic or artificial polymers, are derived from petroleum oil and are made by scientists. They include nylon, polyethylene, polyester, Teflon or epoxy. There are various polymers in commercial importance which are used in different domains such as science, industrial and technology.
In today's world, polymers are widely used materials which are found almost in every materials used in our routine life. It has numerous and varied applications. Let us explore some polymers of commercial importance. Nylon. Nylon is a synthetic polymer prepared in labs and produced by industries and commonly used in the textile and fabric industry. It comes under the family of linear polyamides. Characteristics which make it such a valuable material are strength, luster, elasticity, and resistance to damage by oil and chemicals, and widely used in shirts, raincoats, etc. Next, we come to polyvinyl chloride or PVC. It is widely used, has broad range of applications in building, transport, packaging, electrical products, etc. and this can be attributed to its highly versatile nature. It is highly durable and long-lasting and thermoplastic in nature. Some common products are PVC window frames, drainage pipe, medical devices, cable wire insulations. Credit cards and vinyl records are also made using PVC. Bakelite, the oldest polymer synthesized by man, used in thermosetting polymer and has high strength and retains its shape after molding. It is invented by Leo Henrik Bakelite. It is commonly used in making electrical switches and handles of a variety of utensils and in pipe stems. Polytetrafluoroethylene, commonly known as Teflon, is a synthetic fluoropolymer of tetrafluoroethylene. It is of high molecular weight and made up of mainly carbon and fluorine. The best known brand name of PTFE based formulas is Teflon, which is extensively used in cookware such as non-stick pans. Other examples include Kevlar, used in sports and music equipment, Mylar, used in food packaging, Orlan, used in fabrics, Xylon, used in sports equipment.
Hello everyone, I am Sharanya Datta from class 10A. Today I am going to speak about polythene. Polythene or polyethylene is a tough, light, flexible synthetic resin made by polymerizing ethylene, chiefly used for plastic bags and packaging. Now let's get into the advantages of polythene. It is very ductile and has good impact strength. Polythene is water resistant and durable, so it is longer lasting when exposed to the elements compared to other polymers. Polythene is a good electric insulator. The clearness of low density polythene makes it suitable for packaging. Polythene has good heat resistant properties which enable it to be used in high and low temperatures. There are numerous disadvantages of polythene. The polymer, like many other plastics, takes a long time to break down and as such can end up in landfill sites for decades, which we are running out of space for. Another way to dispose of polythene is incineration, which can result in harmful gas emissions. Polythene is mainly extracted from petroleum or natural gas, of which there is a finite amount. Producing polythene takes a large amount of energy and also leads to high emissions of carbon dioxide, a greenhouse gas contributing to global warming and climate change. Though it is technically possible to recycle the majority of plastic polymers, there are many different types to sort through, which is expensive and complex. Polythene, like other synthetic plastics, is not readily biodegradable. However, there are a number of species of bacteria and animals that were able to degrade polythene. In 2014, a Chinese researcher discovered that Indian mealmoth larvae could metabolize polythene and degrade it significantly from observing that plastic bags at his home have holes on them. Then he and his team analyzed their gut bacteria and found a few that could use plastic as their only carbon source. In October 2019, Indian researchers of Shiv Nadar University in Greater Noida, Uttar Pradesh, have discovered two strains of plastic-eating bacteria, namely Exovibacterium sibiricum strain DR11 and Exovibacterium yundi strain DR14 from the wetlands of Greater Noida, an advance that may lead to eco-friendly alternative cleanup methods for plastic waste worldwide by decomposing polystyrene. Now it's your turn to save our earth from plastic pollution. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I am Chinupriya Shaha from class 9B. Today I am going to tell you all about the cleansing property of the soap and detergent. Action of both soaps and detergents result from the ability to lower the surface tension of water. To emulsify oil or grease and to hold them, sodium soap dissolves to form soap anions and sodium cations. For example, the chemical reaction that shows the ionization of sodium palmitate. This is the structure of one soap molecule. A soap anion consists of a long hydrocarbon chain with a carboxylate group at one end. The hydrocarbon chain, which is hydrophobic, is soluble in oil or grease, whereas the ionic part in the carboxylate group, which is hydrophilic, is soluble in water. In a soap, the molecules are arranged in such a way such that the hydrophobic end is towards the dirt. The molecules of the soap arrange themselves in a circular ring-like pattern. This arrangement is known as micelle. This arrangement attracts the dirt particles from the fabric or the skin. This process of self-assembly of the molecule of the soap in a liquid or detergent is known as micelle formation. A quick glance into the different types of soaps and detergents. A harder soap, which is a dense bar, lasts longer. Soap molecule consists of a chain of carbon atoms where one end of the chain attracts oil and the other end attracts water. Soap conditioners are referred to as emollients. Once you have washed your hands and what's left behind your skin after you rinse depends on the type of soap a person uses. Most people like soap which produces lather. The balance of bubbles and cleansing, smoothing creams makes lather so satisfying. It is an essential factor. Aromas evoke a unique combination of personal memory and enrich our daily life. A detergent is a surfactant or a mixture of surfactants that has cleansing properties in dilute solutions with water.
We all know what are medicines, right? But have you ever wondered what makes those colorful outer coverings of the tablets and capsules? And what disguises the unpleasant taste of most drugs? And how do medicines meant for different diseases that are orally ingested get delivered to the right location in the body? Well, the answer to all these questions is polymers. Today, polymers are used extensively in the pharmaceutical industry. They have diverse application in pharmacy such as drug protection, bioavailability of drugs, taste making, targeted delivery, and so on. For pharmaceutical purposes, both natural polymers as well as synthetic polymers are used. Some of the natural polymers used in pharmacy are chitosan, cellulose, hyaluronic acid, dextrin, etc. And some synthetic polymers that are used in pharmacy are polyethylene glycol and polyvinyl alcohol. These polymers are used to form protective coverings of tablets and make capsule shells. They improve the longevity of the drugs, promotes bioavailability of drugs, and also imparts taste and color to the drugs. The most important application of polymers in pharmaceutical today is drug delivery system. It is a process by which certain polymers present along with the drugs help the drugs to get delivered at the affected tissue or organ of the body and stimulate drug release at a specified rate. Latest researchers say that the principle of polymeric drug delivery system can also be used to locate the target cancerous cells in the body and deliver anti-cancerous drugs to that spot. If this is successful, then it will be a better method of cancer treatment than chemotherapy. So, in a nutshell, we can say that today polymers have formed the backbone of the pharmaceutical industry, and it is virtually impossible to think of pharmacy without polymers today.
I'm Shain Sinha from class 7A. Today I'm going to perform an experiment based on the formation of carbon dioxide due to chemical reaction between vinegar and baking soda. This is baking soda, which is also known as sodium bicarbonate, and its formula is NaHCO3, and this is vinegar, which is also known as acetic acid, and its chemical formula is CH3COOH. These ingredients are mostly used in cooking, just like baking soda, which is also used for baking cakes. Firstly, I will pour baking soda into the balloon. After pouring the baking soda, I will pour the vinegar into a bottle. After pouring the baking vinegar, I will fit the balloon on the mouth of the bottle. Sodium bicarbonate reacts with acetic acid to form carbon dioxide, water, and sodium acetate. The solid baking soda was placed in vinegar that produces carbon dioxide, which is an evident because of the formation of bubbles in the foaming mixture. Due to this carbon dioxide gas, the balloon gets inflated. And if this carbon dioxide gas is passed through lime water, it will turn the lime water milky. This was all about my experiment. Thank you.
The future of chemistry is really bright, specifically in the field of polymers. The chemical sciences will like to be increasingly required to solve challenges in health, energy, climate, water, and food production. Chemistry might as well have a greater role in biochemistry and pharmaceutical industry, as well in the maintenance and development of infrastructure. Here are a few examples of polymer which might help us in the future. As we all know, plastic do not degrade and remain in our environment for hundreds and thousands of years. But with the development of polymers, this is changing. Thanks to innovation and with the process of using enzymes and catalysts, this is becoming increasingly possible to convert renewable sources such as biogas into the major building blocks of manufacturing plastics and synthetic rubber, which are biodegradable in nature. Secondly, we have self-healing plastics. Although we select materials for engineering application based on their ability to withstand mechanical stress, but they inevitably fall. But with the development of chemistry and polymers, new materials are being developed which are able to heal in response to what we would traditionally consider irreversible damage. Polymers are not only the only materials with the potential of self-healing. Thirdly, we have smart and reactive polymers. Polymers such as gel and synthetic rubbers can easily adjust their shape in response to external stimuli, which mean they are able to respond to changes in the surroundings. They turn to be incredibly useful in designing smart materials for sensors, drug delivery device, and many more applications. You can greatly extend a polymer's natural ability to respond to such stimuli by designing them for this purpose in mind. Fourthly, we have research on fullerene for cancer treatment. A fullerene is a special form of carbon with molecules consisting of 60 carbon atoms. The anti-tumor activity of fullerene derivatives has a great potential for the development of new effective medicinal products for treatment of non-small cell lung carcinoma, and research shows that fullerene has a bright future in cancer treatment. Hundreds and hundreds of researches are taking place on a daily basis to develop polymer for the betterment of our society. Polymer science can be applied to save energy and improve renewable energy technologies. Thus, our future with polymer is really bright.
I, Shubhalakshmi Karanjay of class 12B, feel honored to propose the vote of thanks on such an occasion. First of all, I would like to thank the Almighty for keeping us all in good health. I would like to thank our Managing Trustee, Mrs. S.C. Broughton, for always encouraging us and inspiring us. I would like to thank our Chairman, Mr. J.G. Broughton, for being the ever supportive and always radiating positive energy within us. I would like to thank our Principal Sir, Mr. Bobby Baxter, and our Vice Principal Sir, Mr. Shayantan Mukherjee, for giving the students of Julian Day School, Ganganagar, such a golden opportunity. I would like to thank our teacher in charge, Mr. Lyle Njene, and our junior school coordinator, Mr. Sharilandi. I would further extend my gratitude towards our teachers, Mrs. Shriparna Guha and Mr. Shuvendu De, for their guidance and advice. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all the students who participated and made this magazine into a success.